In computer science, whitespace is any character or series of whitespace characters that represent horizontal or vertical space in typography. When rendered, a whitespace character does not correspond to a visible mark, but typically does occupy an area on a page. For example, the common whitespace symbol U+0020 space, also ASCII-32, represents a blank space punctuation character in text, used as a word divider in Western scripts. With many keyboard layouts, a horizontal whitespace character may be entered through the use of a spacebar. Horizontal whitespace may also be entered on many keyboards through the use of the tab to the first key, although the length of the space may vary. Vertical whitespace is a bit more varied as to how it is encoded, but the most obvious in typing is the A-micron enter result, which creates a newline code sequence in applications programs. Older keyboards might instead say return, abbreviating the typewriter keyboard meaning carriage-return, which generated an electromechanical return to the left stop and a line feed or move to the next line. In some applications these were independently used to draw text cell-based displays on monitors or for printing on tractor-guided printers Euro, which might also contain reverse motions positioning code sequences allowing yesterday's text-based fancier displays. Many early computer games used such codes to draw a screen. The term whitespace is based on the resulting appearance on ordinary paper. However they are coded inside an applications, whitespace can be processed the same as any other character code and programs can do the proper action as defined for the context in which they occur. Definition and ambiguity: the most common whitespace characters may be typed via the spacebar or the tab key. Depending on context, a line break generated by the return or enter key may be considered whitespace as well. Unicode. In Unicode the following 25 characters are defined as whitespace characters. Within the algorithm for bidirectional writing, Unicode uses another definition of whitespace. These PWS characters are neutral, they follow the writing direction of neighboring characters rather than determining their own. The 8 other characters listed here are also neutral, but have a different PD type. Unicode also provides some visible characters to stand in for whitespace when necessary, non-space blanks. The Braille pattern's Unicode block contains U+2800, the Euro Braille pattern blank, a Braille pattern with no dots raised. Some fonts display the character as a fixed width blank, however the Unicode standard explicitly states that it does not act as a space. Usage: programming languages. Runs of whitespace characters occurring within source code written in computer programming languages are generally ignored. Such languages are free-form. However, in some languages, such as Haskell and Python, whitespace and indentation are used for syntactical purposes. In the language called whitespace, whitespace characters are the only valid characters for programming, while any other characters are ignored. Still, for most programming languages, excessive use of whitespace, especially trailing whitespace at the end of lines, is considered a nuisance. However, correct use of whitespace can make the code easier to read and help group related logic. In interpreted languages, parsing of unnecessary whitespace may affect the speed of execution. The C language defines whitespace characters to be space, horizontal tab, newline, vertical tab, and form feed. The HTTP network protocol requires different types of whitespace to be used in different parts of the protocol, such as only the space character in the status line, CRLF at the end of a line, and linear whitespace in header values. Markup languages: some markup languages, such as SGML, preserve whitespace as written. Web markup languages such as XML and HTML treat whitespace characters specially, including space characters, for programmers' convenience. One or more space characters read by conforming display time processors of those markup languages are collapsed to 0 or 1 space, depending on their semantic context. For example, double spaces within text are collapsed to a single space, and spaces which appear on either side of the equal that separates an attribute name from its value have no effect on the interpretation of the document. Element end tags can contain trailing spaces, and empty element tags in XML can contain spaces before the slash. In these languages, Unnecessary whitespace increases the file size, and so may slow network transfers. On the other hand, unnecessary whitespace can also inconspicuously mark code, similar to, but less obvious than comments in code. This can be desirable to prove an infringement of license or copyright that was committed by copying and pasting. In XML attribute values, sequences of whitespace characters are treated as a single space when the document is read by a parser. Whitespace in XML element content is not changed in this way by the parser, but an application receiving information from the parser may choose to apply similar rules to element content. An XML document author can use the XML space equals preserve attribute on an element to instruct the parser to discourage the downstream application from altering whitespace in that element's content. In most HTML elements, a sequence of whitespace characters is treated as a single interword separator, which may manifest as a single space character when rendering text in a language that normally inserts such space between words. Conforming HTML renderers are required to apply a more literal treatment of whitespace within a few prescribed elements, such as the pre-tag and any element for which CSS has been used to apply pre-like whitespace processing. In such elements, space characters will not be collapsed into interword separators. In both XML and HTML, the non-breaking space character, along with other non-standard spaces, is not treated as collapsible whitespace, so it is not subject to the rules above. Visible symbol. Sometimes the visible symbol £, is used to indicate a space. This symbol is used in a textbook on the Modular 2 computer language published circa 1985 by Springer Verlag, where it is necessary to explicitly indicate a space code. The symbol is also used in the keypad silk screening of TI-8X series graphing calculators from Texas Instruments. File names. Such usage is similar to multi-word file names written for operating systems and applications that are confused by embedded space code as a such file names instead use an underscore as a word separator, as in this phrase. Another such symbol was U+2422, a cent blank symbol. This was used in the early years of computer programming when writing on coding forms. Key punch operators immediately recognized the symbol as an explicit space. See also, programming style, whitespace, indent style, space, zero-width space, trimming, regular expression POSIX character classes, the whitespace character class, references. External links, property list of Unicode character database.